What's going on, everybody? TJ here for Bash on the Buttons. We're back. Had a little 2-week hiatus. TJ's been doing some mad coverage. Just worked afternoons all this week. Worked 27 hours between Thursday and Friday. It's been a rough stretch, but it's time to partay with WWF In Your House for the Sega Saturn, which I've got pulled up here. I just have to go through all the language settings again and remind it what year it is. Apparently you need a memory card. Again, I never had one of these when I was younger. This is one of the systems I just skipped altogether. So this is absolutely new to me. How, like, do you need a memory card for the Sega Saturn just to hold the settings? Because that would be crazy. All right, we're loading up. So as you know, this is week 3, WWF In Your House for the Sega Saturn. And again, here on this show, I don't play emulators. This is the real thing. This is my actual Sega Saturn hooked up to the computer. I normally do all this show on Friday, but it's Saturday, and I think it's still time for an adult beverage. So let's go ahead and make one before we start the festivities. What a week it has been. Also, there's some big things coming up here on the Markout Moments Network. As soon as I pour my Fresca into my mason jar, I will show you some of the things that, oh, this is solid ice. My Fresca is just ice. That does not help the drink making process. Oh, here we go. Got a little frozen plug out. Now we're pumping again. Oh, right to the tip. Cheers. So TJ, what do you got there? The command center that you call your desk? Well, yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but doing some buying, some shopping on eBay, I was like, hey, what would be fun to do? What would some fun things be, to potentially give away? We could do some box breaks with cards. What could some of those things be? And two of those things, I have this 1990 complete set of WWF trading cards from 1990. Maybe we'll do something with that later. And then I got this one complete set of 1991 WWF trading cards, and this one has the rookie card of someone you may have heard of him. He did okay in his career. The Undertaker, I think, is his name. His rookie card's in here. Maybe we do something with that, in a couple weeks. Maybe we do something with those. Maybe I've got 2 cases or 2 boxes here of Pokemon Ascended Heroes Elite Trainer boxes. Maybe we do something with those on the network coming up. Maybe I'm just tossing ideas around. Maybe we see those appear soon. We'll see. So with all that being said, it's time to play some WWF In Your House. And as you know, let's back up. So I don't feel like just getting the shit beat out of me. Oh, apparently you got to reset it. We're just going to reset it. How do you? No, it's not what I wanted. Reset. Okay, did something. So as you know, the next game is, so this is week 3. We always do these games in 3-week blocks. This is week 3 of In Your House. As if you've been watching the show for a long time, I can't believe it's already been like 6 months, by the way, we've been doing this show. It's crazy. The next game was supposed to be Tag Team Wrestling for NES. But as you know, when we got to week 3 of Pro Wrestling for NES, my NES quit working. So I do have some shopping to do. You'll see if I can find another Nintendo. So we're going to put Tag Team Wrestling on hold for right now. And I'm thinking, I didn't have a poll planned for the next 4 block of games. What can we kind of substitute for Pro Wrestling for NES? I did it again. I wanted to change the settings first, so I don't just get murdered. That's not fun. So you guys in the chat tell me, what sounds like more fun to play after this in place of Tag Team Wrestling for the NES? Would it be WCW Nitro for PlayStation 1? Backstage Assault? Mayhem? WWF Attitude? WrestleMania 2000? Lots to choose from. We have, again, 6 months. There's a reason why I do these games in 3-week blocks. Is even though we've been going for 6 months, we have just scratched the surface of wrestling video games. So you guys tell me what you think would be fun. Maybe we go a little bit more modern. Maybe the WWE 2K series. Maybe one of the WWF SmackDowns. You tell me. Okay, it's already on easy. Excellent. I'm a newbie to the Sega Saturn. By the way, I just started getting into collecting Pokemon cards like in the last 2 weeks. And I bought both of those 2 boxes, and I have like a bunch of Pokemon PSA slabs, including one CGC 10 Pristine coming to my house right now. Actually, I might have got here today. I need to check after the show. Let's try Bulldog. Today was one of those days. Can't explain why. I was in a cleaning frenzy down here in the man cave in the living area across the wall here. Did a lot of laundry. I've had 2 light fixtures that have not worked in a couple months, pretty much since I got the breaker panel. I had a new breaker panel installed here. And I went digging today and found out why. The electrician, and I'm not bad-mouthing the guy, he did phenomenal work, but he when he wired up what was this? When he wired up the junction box for all the wires for the lights, he missed one. So I got that working today. That felt nice. I also may or may not have gotten tickled by some electricity. Owen is murdering me. Oh my goodness. Bulldog is not good. Did he pin me? Or did he just KO me? Can you do that? So apparently if you do a headbutt with Bulldog, he turns it into a Bulldog. Oh, you could just do KOs apparently. Bulldog's not good at this game. Wow. Like, I know I'm not good, but heavens. Like with Goldust, we won some matches. With Bret Hart, we won some matches. I just got murdered. I absolutely refuse to be the Ultimate Warrior. Did I pick Shawn Michaels? If you watch any of our other shows here on Markout Moments that I've been on, and we've ever discussed Shawn Michaels, and let me be perfectly clear on what I mean here. I mean first tenure Shawn Michaels, and people actually technically second, because people forget he actually got brought in '88 with Jannetty and got fired, or was it '87? One of the two. Pretty immediately. It wasn't like, you know, what does the Fabulous Freebirds? Well, I can remember their name. I mean, it wasn't Fabulous Freebirds fast, but it was still pretty fast. Yep, Matthew Elvis Presley's in the past. Well, you need to get in the future, my friend. He picks WWF Attitude for the next game. We've already played Warzone. Matthew, you keep bringing Retromania up. You need to tell me what is that on, because I will order it. I've heard good things about it. You know what's bizarre is this game came out in 1995, and like I love it. I'm getting Owen Hart apparently is just a beast in this game. I will remind you the difficulty's on easy. Okay. So I'm gonna order Retromania. Matthew, you have my word on that. So we're gonna play. It sounds like Warzone. I'm fine with that. This is terrible. Can I please stop wrestling Owen Hart? Because he's just like, hey, what if I just shattered your dreams? You know? I'm not even gonna let you do anything. But I don't understand what just happened. Like if the WWF season is more difficult than like winning the Intercontinental WWF Championship on this game, that's stupid. And also, what do you get for winning this season? I should probably look that up. It says it's on easy. I don't believe it. As I get just destroyed by Owen Hart. And again, I'm a big time Owen Hart guy. Owen Hart is in my top probably 5 to 7 favorite wrestlers ever. And that isn't like me remembering how good he was. Like in real time, when I'm, 8 to 14 years old, I didn't impress anything. Oh, Lord. This is going to be a squash. I mean, he's going to beat me. He's not. Warrior doesn't let people get offense, Oh, the Shawn Michaels thing. So you've heard me, if you've ever watched anything on any of these shows about Shawn Michaels, and again, I mean first tenure, so like 88 to 98. I've said that if I owned, oh, that was cool. I don't know what I just did. If I owned the WWF, specifically SummerSlam, when he just clowned Vader in front of everybody, I would have fired him. I do not understand for the life of me how he got away with that. like it's your WWF Championship match. You're creating a storyline that's going to run you through the Royal Rumble, according to the legends, and he just destroys it, and you're like, man, it's fine. Come on, come on, yeah, yeah. I don't know how to do that. I win. All right, we're on the board. If I was an adult in 1980 and someone asked you your top 5 wrestlers ever, what would they be? So I'm guessing the question is, like, if I'm 41 years old in 1980, who would be my favorite wrestler? Is that what you're asking me? Flair. That's interesting because Hogan was big, but he wasn't Hogan yet. Flair was big, but he wasn't Flair yet. I think he won his first NWA championship in 81, so he was almost there. I mean, Dusty would have to be in there. What? Dusty would definitely Dusty would make it. Probably Terry Funk. Jerry Lawler. Well, now Lawler had a huge 1980s, and he had a really, really good end of the 70s for Memphis. But I think he would even say his best decade was the 80s. So we'll leave Lawler off for the time being. Son of a bitch. Oh, look at this. So we'll leave Lawler as a possible. Who else is out there in 1980? Bruno's more or less done. But again, I would have grown up watching Bruno. So we'll have to put Bruno on there. A clean sweep of Owen by Owen. So far we got Dusty, Bruno. What else did I say? Terry Funk, possibly Lawler. This is a good question. That's tough. 1980. Knowing how, again, I liked Owen even when he was a heel. So keeping that in mind, I would think if I was exposed to Harley Race, I would have liked him. So we'll put Harley at 4. And I think you have to put, oh my Lord. I think you have to put Lawler at 5, But here's the thing, like, there's no way I know who all those guys are because it's also regional. So where I live, my promotion of choice either would have been, or I should say, closest options for wrestling was the AWA, which was on television. Big Time Wrestling out of Detroit, the Sheik, which I don't know if that was on television here or not. I don't think it was. And Dick the Bruiser out of Indy, which, again, I don't think was on television here. So, if it was the AWA, I mean, Vern for sure. Bockwinkel. I'll do Patterson and Stevens as a team. Zabisco hadn't been there yet. It is amazing that I picked Owen Hart. Now we're winning. Wow, man. Piper, I think, had been to. Piper's one of my dudes. Piper had been to Portland and Georgia, I think, by 80. And he was in that now infamous Inoki Muhammad Ali card. He was on that. Yeah, I think it's too hard to narrow it down to a territory because I mean you have 3 to 4 big names per territory per time, and like my history is pretty good, but I don't know if it's that good. But national, we'll go Dusty, Harley, Flair. No, I didn't have Flair, not yet. Dusty, Harley, Terry Funk, Bruno, Lawler. I'm not upset about that. We are just moving right along through the WWF season here. Fine, we got some stability. We're just getting smashed when we first started this. But I can tell you my top five in 1990 because I was watching. I was 5. 1990 it would have been Jim Duggan, Ted DiBiase, Randy Savage, Mr. Perfect. That's 4, and then 5 would have been Jake Roberts. Not a Hogan guy, which again I've said since the beginning. That's not some like me trying to make some grand statement now in hindsight. I've always said that. Again, when Hogan came back in 2002 and turned babyface, and he beat Triple H for the undisputed title, I remember losing my shit when he did that. But outside of that, Hogan was never my guy. And again, I didn't like Warrior either. I never got it. I still don't get it. His promos were nonsense. The only if he wasn't wrestling Hogan or Savage, buckle up because you just don't know what's about to happen. I wonder what happens if you win the season. I have no idea. See, we still got. Haven't seen Ahmed. Haven't seen he's DDT'd me. Haven't seen the Undertaker. Kick to the dick. Right in the PP. Who else is on this game? Ahmed? We beat Ahmed? I don't think so. Now, I remember having a conversation when we played, I think it was Revenge, that I don't remember a time where Arn Anderson was on a video game. We found out it wasn't until like Legends of Wrestling. He showed up, Legends of WrestleMania or something. He popped on one of the games. What was that? When was Jake's? I know he made a couple of the early WWF games like WrestleFest and whatnot, but I wonder what the gap was. Because he went to WCW in 91 and was there for like a pay-per-view and was gone. It wouldn't show back up until the WWF in 1995, and I don't remember him ever being on a game. So apparently Matthew Elvis Presley is in the chats trying to diagnose me as a psychiatrist. A wrestler, a patriot, a stuck-up millionaire, a snake handler, and a womanizer was your 90s list. Yeah, it was. Suck it. So let's do 95. So I'm 10. I'm not watching was I watching WCW? I don't think I was. Maybe like big late 95, early 96. So I was when I started watching. So 95, my top 5 is Owen, Undertaker. Oh my Laetus. Ah, who was just whipping the shit out of me. Owen, Undertaker, Goldust, Roddy Piper. Who would be 5? Who would be my number 5? Uh-oh. Oh. Man. Who would be my number 5 in 95? Why is it so hard? Razor? Probably Razor. That's a solid guess on my behalf about me. Now 2000. Let's do it's Mankind. Is far and away number 1. Mankind, DDP. Benoit. Can't say double A because it's been retired for 2 years. Raven. What was that I just did? I always had a soft spot for Dustin Rhodes. And I was watching WCW in 2000, but not a lot of it. But I was on the periphery watching, just hoping they would get their shit together. And then, Matthew Elvis Presley's killing me in the comments. I mean, I guess Austin, but I was never a giant Austin guy. But I would think Austin might. Why is Ahmed's venue the locker room? Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, everyone gets their own venue, like it's Mortal Kombat. And Ahmed gets the locker room. Poor guy. What? Stop it! I don't know what just fell out of him, but nice. Came back from behind and got Ahmed. Also, here's an interesting topic of conversation. Do you remember when Miz was WWF or WWE champion and he had the ladder match with Jerry Lawler on pay-per-view for the title? Am I the only one who thinks that Jerry Lawler should have won that? Now, let me be perfectly clear. Miz deserves all the props in the world because the crowd was treating Jerry Lawler like it was 1988 Hulk Hogan. They were firmly behind the king. And that match was way better than it deserved to be. I mean, again, nothing against Jerry Lawler. He was in his 50s, maybe even older. How old was Jerry Lawler in 2010? Is that when the match was? I just guessed. I think it was like Backlash or some such nonsense. Miz versus Lawler. ladder match was 2010. Oh, 2009. December 2009. No, it's not right. You dicked me on that one. This is terrible. 2011. Elimination Chamber 2011. And Jerry Lawler would have been, I'm going to say he was 58 in that match. He was born in 49. He was 62. What? And Miz made him look like $1 million in the ring. I just dropped my controller. Good thing about having cords, you know. But I don't know why I'm sitting there watching that, man. I remember I came back to wrestling in 09 after, you know, walking away from 03 to 07 or 08 essentially. And I remember watching that match and I'm like, how great would it be if Lawler won? Even like, and I mean, it's also one of those things. Jerry Lawler becomes world champion in 62. There's no way anyone's ever going to beat that record. It's probably why they didn't do it. Vince, when he won, oh, there you go. It's Owen's theme music. Is this his entrance video? I think it is. You are the new WWF season champion. Oh, they're just like, hey, you won some fights. Congrats. Vince, when he won the title in 99 or 2000, whatever, right? 99. You think he was 54. So yeah, Lawler won it at 62. No one's ever beaten that. I don't know if anyone's ever going to beat Vince's 54. Now, granted, wrestlers are wrestling longer and longer all the time. But Vince had that rare opportunity of owning your own company, being built like a shipwreck house, and having the perfect story and antagonist to pull that off. Again, like, I hear people all the time comparing Vince McMahon winning the WWF Championship to Vince Russo winning the WCW World Heavyweight Championship in 2000. And I'm going to be perfectly clear. They are not the same thing. Everyone who says, oh, I can't believe Vince McMahon won the world title in 99. He didn't defend it. And also, he didn't beat anybody clean for it. He cheated. And then immediately gave the title to, I think it was The Rock. Or they had a tournament, something. I just don't. I don't know how you could sit there and compare Vince winning the world title to Vince Russo with a straight face. I just don't. I mean, if you do, you clearly were not alive during that time. Because it's not the same. Vince winning the world title with the Awesome McMahon storyline was tremendous. Him winning the Rumble, outstanding. They did the one thing that made it like you believe that Vince could actually win the Royal Rumble. Austin came in at 1. I think Boss Man came in at 2. But the corporation just came out and beat the shit out of Austin all over the arena. Everyone eliminates themselves throughout the match. Vince walks into the ring, declares himself the winner, and all of a sudden Austin walks out. And we get the confrontation. But then the corporation comes back out and eliminates Austin. Like, again, Vince didn't do it. This is, again, I can remember the storylines and the events leading up to and preceding both Vince winning the Royal Rumble and him winning the WWF Championship. I don't remember. Now, again, I just admitted, wasn't watching WCW too closely in 2000, but I did watch that, and I do not remember what storyline they were in. Why was Vince Russo even in that cage match? And I'm pretty sure he defended it afterwards. Like Norman Smiley in like full pads. They're not at all the same thing. McMahon was able to use his capabilities, or lack thereof, to get Austin over that much more and put more heat on McMahon. Russo did none of those things. He didn't put heat on anybody other than the promotion because we had to watch the shit. And he didn't get anybody over. He just kissed me and then give me Shattered Dreams. Or not Shattered Dreams, but the curtain call. And also, let's look at this too. Vince Russo beat Goldberg to win the world title. Again, it was a cage match, and Goldberg speared him through the cage. I'll give him that one. But again, Russo winning the world title, McMahon winning the world title, not at all the same thing. Who crapped in Goldust's bag? Owen Hart did just now. That's who did. Unless you're referencing a real story. I'm not aware of that if you are. I've heard a lot of bag pooping stories that usually involve X-Pac. I've never heard of one involving Goldust. So if you have a story, I am all ears or eyes, I guess. Back to the locker room to wrestle with Ahmed Johnson. I can't believe. That's outstanding. Like, where should we put Ahmed for his selected venue? I know. The locker room. WWF jobs suck. If you want a real good job, Ted Turner. I need to read this. Ted Turner. Want a pay cut job called Big Nose. I don't understand. What? Oh, that was quick. I almost had a flawless victory. Oh, shit. No, I know who Big Nose is. I figured that out. I don't understand what you're saying. I already have a job. I don't need to work in any of those places. Vader. I don't know what's true with Vader in the WWF, whether he was, I do know he was hurt when he got there. But if it's like the effort thing or the WWF just didn't know what to do with him, Shawn didn't help any. But man, Vader was a huge fumble. By somebody. I'm not blaming anybody, but somebody, what happened there? Somebody messed that up. Did he just shoot a fireball at me? Twice. Say one of the bushwhackers in the middle wearing a flannel just doing the hey. Have the bushwhackers ever been on a video game? Oh my God. He keeps doing that. Might lose a foot, but never lose your smile. So I'll be Kerry Von Erich and not Shawn Michaels. Is that what we're doing? You are a complicated man, Teddy Belcher. Were the Bushwhackers on a 2K? I don't remember that ever. In all honesty, what rating would you give the Bushwhackers as a tag team on that game? Like an 81? Because here's the dichotomy of the Bushwhackers. They are easily one of the most recognized tag teams ever. Like most memorable. And the sad part is everyone knows the Bushwhackers so much they don't even remember the Sheep Herders before that. So they're easily one of the top 5 most recognized tag teams ever in the WWF. They are nowhere near the top 10 best. I guess it depends what you're basing that on. I mean, just off the top of my head, tag teams better than the Bushwhackers. Demolition, Heart Foundation, the Rockers, Natural Disasters. They actually feuded with the Natural Disasters now I think about it. New Age Outlaws, Edge and Christian, Dudleys, Hardys, Haas Benjamin, World's Greatest Tag Team. I need one more. That's 9. Bulldogs, 10. I think 83 is fair, Matthew. I think 83 is fair. I said the Heart Foundation. Don't you try to slander my name in the chat. That was. I gotta say, I know he just beat me with it. That was hot. Into the ropes into a Sweet Chin Music. It's pretty good. I'm not against it. Was he using the Sweet Chin? He was, right? He wasn't still doing the side suplex or bullshit. Headbangers didn't. They were good. They weren't around long enough. And honestly, I don't think the Headbangers are better than the Bushwhackers, to be completely honest. Didn't even say Legion of Doom. They'd be up there. Who was I? Owen, right? Yeah. Nasty Boys, solid. It's a good one, too. Smoking Guns. Like to me, my most memorable Bushwhackers feud was the Beverly Brothers, and I don't know why. Oh, the Steiners. Didn't even say the Steiners. The Steiners. Killer Bees. No, they're not better than the Bushwhackers. By the way, I don't. I saw a video of Luke entering a battle royal, like recently, and Rougeau's nice one on that. Quebecers. I don't. I think it's badass that Luke is still able to do that. I'm just scared to death that he's gonna get hurt. Take that, Sean. Your Sweet Chin Music, shove it in your ass. It feels like the WWF kind of took the importance of tag teams pretty much entirely, probably around 95, 96. Because all those, I mean, we just rattled off 16 tag teams from 86 to 94, and there was a bunch we didn't name, like Strike Force and Can-Am Connection and all this stuff. And like in the 90s, it's the Beverly Brothers, the Steiners, But then you go after that, it's the Smoking Guns, the New Age Out. Like there's just not. It becomes much more difficult. The new Blackjacks, the new Midnight Express. Then you have other teams like 123 Kid and Marty Jannetty, 123 Kid and Bob Holly, old Sparky Plug. My friends call me Sparky. Oh, there was a chair that turns into, I think it was a queen, king. No, it makes more sense as a King Hearts. I like that. Well, see, now you can't be bringing in Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express. That's a different company. Damn it. But again, like the Bushwhackers in the NWA were the sheep herders, and it was a completely different presentation. Like they were just bloodthirsty savages as the sheep herders. If we're going top 5 tag teams ever, 2 of them right now are the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express, without question. Top 5 tag teams ever. It's Rock and Roll, Midnight. I get made fun of every time on Drunken Pop I bring up this tag team, but Pat Patterson and Ray Stevens have to be on there. Who else? See, to me, I've had this conversation before, and to me, Arn and Tully don't have the tenure to be on the list. Like, technically, are they? Absolutely, but they were only a tag team for like 3 years. Again, like, were those 3 years good? Yeah, absolutely. But it's a packed house. Yeah. Well, I mean, that is true. So, right, but what's the difference between the 80s and the 90s for tag teams? The territories. There just wasn't as many places for people to become a tag team. Find out they like working with someone, you know? Woo. This 2-on-1 business is dumb. Matthew, I don't think the reason why we don't see tag teams now, I don't think it's because people are interested. I think if you presented tag team wrestling in the proper way, the way it's supposed to be presented, I think people would watch it. I think the problem is, and Eric Bischoff actually mentioned this on 83 Weeks, years ago, why he didn't prioritize tag teams at WCW. It's because every time you have a match, instead of paying 2 people, you're paying 4. It's strictly economics. Presentation wise, I don't think it. I think people would love to see a solid tag team division. I think it's the people behind the scenes they want to pay for it. They love having the tag team titles. When was the last time they mattered? I'll wait. Ooh, come on. Don't you get. Oh, nice. Machine gun card for the win. I don't even know how I did that. Drunken Pop chimes in. Tag team wrestling is dead in WWE. Has been shit since 1997. Oh, that was real fast. Owen could never be Taker in real life. I beg to differ. I think he could. Did Owen ever even face Undertaker? I'm sure he had at some point, but I don't remember that. Owen could definitely kick Undertaker's ass for sure. So I'll take that to the bank. Yeah, whooped his ass just now. What's up? I mean, Edge, Christian, Hardy Boys, and Dudley's kind of held together for a couple years there. But, outside of those three teams, that was pretty much it. Like, unfortunately, when the New Age Outlaws were at their peak, there was no one for them to work with. What's funny too is the WWF, especially in 95 and 96, they became so infatuated with factions and gang warfare with DOA and the Bariquas, which was just cheeks in retrospect, and the Nation of Domination. And somehow they couldn't, in those 15 people that were, it's ironic, by the way, I'm wrestling Triple H and Bret Hart together. Out of those 29 people that were in those stables, they couldn't muster together some tag teams. I guess you had Skull and 8 Ball, but that was it. I heard it was like a doofus. Matthew says he met Owen Hart twice as a kid, once at the Civic Center and once at the Flying J truck stop. Truth Commission's the best faction of all time, said no one ever other than whoever's on Drunken Pop's YouTube channel right now. I'm going to guess that's Dave with his new outdoor kitchen. Probably at the outdoor kitchen right now, bragging ass. So whoever's controlling Drunken Pop, I just want you to know that 3 feet to my left here on my desk is 2 boxes of unopened Pokemon cards that we're going to be opening up on the YouTube channel. Yeah, it's Dave for sure. And also, Drunken Pop, my WWF cards are here, 1990 and 1991, with the Undertaker rookie card in it. Unopened. It's not sealed, but it hasn't been opened. I do like that if you lose it, you can just be anyone and keep continuing. It's a nice touch. Also, I don't have to write down or remember a password, which is also nice. But I'm betting that, if you quit, it's just over. You just start over again. Lame. Do we get to see your balls again? When did you see my balls before? Did I mix up my YouTube and OnlyFans streams one day? I don't. If I do, not sorry about it. You're welcome. Again, this is great. Brett gets the dungeon. Owen is like the Wizard of, or not the Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland. What's Triple H's? It's like a country club or something. And then Undertaker gets like, how would you, like a dungeon with like a witch's crock pot in the background, cauldron, and then Vader gets the mountains, Ultimate Warrior gets the desert, Goldust gets a movie theater, Ahmed Johnson gets the locker room. It's fantastic. Also, notice that Owen Hart's on that punching bag in the background. I wish Brett wishes he would have hit it a few more times. That has whipped his ass. You know what I mean, Vern? What is this? Bret Hart twice in a row? Kind of bullshit. Oh, wait, it feels good to be back here after a 2-week. Well, technically it was a week. 2 weeks since the last time we were here together. Hiatus. Back here playing In Your House. for the Sega Saturn. Next week again. And if you don't like it, you can blame Matthew Elvis Presley in the chat. Next week, we're jumping to 3 weeks of WWF Attitude for the PS1 while TJ tries to find another Nintendo or fix the one I have. So we can play tag team wrestling for the original Nintendo. From what I heard, it's god awful, but part of the allure, you know, probably the reason why I want to play it. Woo! All we need is Brian Pillman, and we got the entire Heartland, and Jim, I guess, Neidhart. Jim Neidhart. Oh, you know what? He was on Revenge, wasn't he? He was. I forgot. Stop it. See, like my combo meter's filled up. I don't know what you do with that. What do you do with that? I love that this is a nice touch, right? Because it's clearly Brett and Bulldog against me. But Brett's got a pin against me and Bulldog's got a pin against me. So they both, or one of them has to beat me twice individually, not it's just one of them collectively has to beat me twice. That's a nice touch. It makes it seem like it's a real triple threat match, even though it's not. It's a handicap match. I'm just kneeing people in the ding dong. Oh, power slam. That was hot. Hey, get up, fella. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. What are you doing? Oh, man. Oh, no. Oh, no. Bulldog got me. Some bitch. Wish he was that good when I played as him because he was terrible. I don't think I got an offensive move in. Should we continue to be Owen? I think. Let's. You know what? Let's try Bulldog again. Maybe the game a bad rap. You know, maybe it was I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't warmed up. I hadn't stretched properly. Also excited. In 2 weeks, I'm going to be in Nashville, Tennessee, with some friends of mine doing some sound audio work and producing. Can't wait. Very excited for that. Meet up with our longtime close personal friends. Efren's going to be there. The fun director, Justin Yent's going to be there. Dave won't because he's a dick. But Poundwater Dave will be there. By the way, I think I'm getting I'm getting the itch to do a live event just for us, you know, like the olden days. We wouldn't watch the Royal Rumble or Bulldog's awful. Like even stop it. Yeah, he's just I would love to be able to do the power slam. I don't know how to do that. Yeah, he's terrible. Terrible. Like it's crazy. They don't have wrestler ratings that you can see, but he is awful on this game. Definitely not being him again. Let's go Gold Dust. We had some good luck with Gold Dust last week, and it's the Intercontinental Championship. This is like his realm. His nom de plume. That doesn't even make sense. It is an alias, but you know what I mean. His specialty. Also, one of these weekends when I have a 4-day weekend, I'm going to sneak down to Huntsville, Alabama and see Dollar Bill Dave. And I'm going to PP all over his outdoor kitchen. Because I'm jelly. I want to have an outdoor kitchen. Oh, TJ, you're saying that you're one of those guys that if I can't have one, you can't have one? Absolutely. That is exactly what I'm saying. I would love to know how to like reverse stuff, you know, or block thing. Well, I know how to block, but Bret Hart just did like a breakdancing move. I don't know what that was all about. Oh, nice. Yeah, you do that. Oh, that's bullshit. How did no one get Bret Hart? Look at his energy. It's like full. What a crock of shit. Okay. Thanks. Can we? Also, technically, if this is a triple threat match, shouldn't one of them interrupt the pin? Because they're not winning that way, you know? Bullshit. I think we need to get to the end of this Intercontinental Championship tournament before we finish the night. We're at 1 hour and 2 minutes in. We need some results here. So Bulldog gets a British Promenade as his venue. And again, Ahmed Johnson got the locker room with a bunch of dudes and towels. Like, honestly, I don't know how you miss the opportunity to have Ahmed Johnson in the locker room with a bunch of dudes and towels, and there's no Sunny. Like, she's here. You know? Maybe have her and Sean in the bathroom. Poor Chris Candido. It's another thing. Shawn Michaels went out of his way to ruin the life of one of his, compadres. Honestly, the sharpshooter. And somehow kept his job. That's just absurd. And again, it wasn't even like a minor thing. Like, oops, sorry, I damaged your car. Like, he was having wild intercourse with Chris Candido's girlfriend, fully knowing that they were together. And then on top of that, every time after Sean and Sonny became a thing and Sean started having one of his episodes, he does it all the time, and nearly died, who saved him? Chris Candido. It's just bananas. And again, I love Sean's run from 02 to 09. It's phenomenal. To me, it's 100 times better than what he did from 88 to 98. And I love Sean's redemption story. And I'm glad Sean is happy and healthy with the family now these days. But like I think people forget just how big of a turd he was in the 90s. And again, somehow he was in an environment in a company that let him get away with it. It is unreal. Like, I would love to think that I am, valuable to my company and all these other things. If I did one of the things Sean did in the 90s, I would have been fired flat on my ass in 10 minutes or less. It's wild. It's just, it seems like once a year from 90 to 98, if not twice a year, Sean had some sort of a controversy. Was he one of the greatest in-ring wrestlers of all time? Not even close. Yes. Man. But it seems like from an HR perspective, was he worth it? I don't think so. Again, the Dodgers, for example, just spent. Why did I keep wrestling Bret Hart? Just spent a shitload of money on free agents last year. They signed Edwin Diaz from the Mets, one of the premier closers in Major League Baseball. Pitches like shit for the Dodgers. And then, oh, by the way, he's also emerged as the face of a dogfighting ring. I guarantee you the Dodgers are going to let him go. Because all of us are old enough to remember Michael Vick and how that worked out. Needless to say, the national audience not happy with that. I'm really sick and tired of wrestling Bret Hart. I'm tired of whooping Bret Hart's ass. Oh, I was using one hand and just threw Bret Hart across the ring. I have no idea how I did it either. Look at me pulling these. I don't know what I'm doing. Shit just be happening, By the way, let's talk about this. This is interesting to me. How do I want to phrase this question? Because I was going to say, was there a bigger flop in the history of wrestling than Warrior 95? And there was, Warrior 98. So I don't know. Like, is the question, has there ever been a wrestler who benefited more from 1 year of wrestling than the Ultimate Warrior? 89. Other than that, he wasn't worth a shit. He's say what you want about the Hogan Warrior main or Hogan Slaughter main event at WrestleMania 7. The reason why it happens clearly is the company does not have any faith in the Warrior being in that world title spot without Hogan at 7. So they pivot and have Savage interfere. They go Warrior Savage and slaughter Hogan. But see, Matthew, here's the difference. I don't think Jinder Mahal was a flop. They got way more out of Jinder Mahal. And listen, I know people like to go back and shit on Jinder Mahal and shit on the WWF for having that title reign because they were just trying to, increase their footprint in India. And again, if that is the reason, it's dumb. But I think personally, Jinder Mahal held his own. But his title reign was doomed from the start because the crowd didn't take him seriously. Just 6 months before he won the world title, he was in one-man band. So I think, and they never tried to bring Jinder Mahal back and make him that again. Like he was in the main event for a while the luster of the title kind of wore off of him after he dropped it. But he was like in the ring, he was fine. The Warrior never did anything worth a shit after Warrior Savage. In, what was that, SummerSlam 92? Never again did he do anything that mattered. Warriors Lawler was terrible. And Jerry Lawler tells the story. I actually know it's Bruce Prichard, but Lawler tells it too. That they were talking about when Lawler broke. What did he break over his head? What was framed? Was it a drawn poster of that Lawler drew of Warrior? I think it was. And it's fake glass. They're going to break it over Lawler's or Warrior's head. It's an angle. And if you go back and watch that Raw, Warrior's wearing a hat. Warrior doesn't wear hats. But in this angle, he did because he was afraid that Lawler was going to hurt his head with fake glass. And then they had the King of the Ring match that was just terrible. You know, Warrior goes to Hunter. I think he had a bizarre, like, 2-week storyline with Goldust in between. And just said all kinds of shit. In the promo that I'm sure he wasn't supposed to say. But yeah, I just don't like. 89, 90. Warrior, I'm not even say he was great. He sufficed. Right? But he got over. To his credit, he got over. But man, after that, whoo. Not, and then, you know, remember he embarrasses Hunter at WrestleMania 12, which I'm going to be honest, I've heard that story. I don't know how much I believe it. Like, yeah, Hunter pedigreed him and he no-sold it. Well, yeah. I mean, that makes sense in the moment. You know, it's Warrior. It's not entirely shocking. And also, just to be completely honest, you know, knowing Hunter the way we do now, if that spot was not planned at WrestleMania and Warrior just stands up to, in fact, disrespect Triple H, I think Triple H's reaction would have been much different. We might have got to see a shoot fight. And of course, again, he's the one telling the story that was not planned. I don't believe that. Do I think Warrior could be a self-important, disrespectful douchebag? Yes. Do I think he would have done that? No, I don't. He didn't do it before or after. Just that one time. So for some reason, like, you know what, this long hair, blonde hair guy, I'm gonna screw him over tonight just for fun. Then he goes to WCW and has arguably the worst 6 to 8 months of wrestling ever. Just awful. Has the worst match of all time with Hogan and Halloween Havoc 98. Like, it. I don't even think overrated is the right word. I finally beat them. I did. Nice. Shout out to my friend Dan Housen. He's nailing it. So happy for him. Thanks. Known him for years. Braggart. Now there's 3 of them. Oh, this is the championship bout. So there's going to be 3 of them fighting me. That's great. Sean Owen and Bret Hart take on Owen Hart. That makes sense. Again, you couldn't have used Ahmed or Vader, anyone else, really. Nope, another Owen Hart. I mean, really, if you're going to just do Bret Owen and Bulldog, makes more sense. Why is Sean wearing different pants? And before we go any farther, Matthew Elvis Presley brings up a good point. If you haven't heard, the wrestler Rebel was recently diagnosed with ALS, which is rough. That's putting it mildly, to be honest. I've met her twice. I have a video of her on my phone kicking the shit out of Dollar Bill Dave. She is one of the nicest people I've ever met in wrestling. And, you know, just sending positive thoughts her way. And just, you know, when you have those positive thoughts for her, let her know that you're having them, because she needs to know. I can't imagine how she's feeling or what's going through her head right now. So just shout out to Rhonda. Shout out to Rebel. I'll tell you why I just said Rhonda here in a second. Shout out to Rebel. We're thinking about you. Just awful news. Now, the reason why I said Ronda instead of Rebels because Ronda Rousey fights tonight. I'm not watching it because I don't care. And let me be clear on this. I used to be a giant UFC fan, big Chuck Liddell guy. But, and again, this is just me, just how I am. I'm not. If you watch UFC, I'm not judging you. I did a paper in college, a research paper on CTE, and ever since I wrote that paper, I haven't been able to watch UFC since. NFL games, I can watch, but anytime there's a head injury, I get nervous. So like I can't. Again, I don't. I used to be a huge UFC fan. I don't judge anyone who watches UFC or offshoots of the like. I can't because I know what's happening to their brain. Oh, I got a win. Look at that. Well, we're one win away. Everyone has a win. Ruh-roh. No room for effing around here. I don't even know how you like look at other people. Like right now, Sean could just beat the shit out of me because I can't even look at him. This is not ideal. So the winner's Owen Hart, but it's the wrong one. What are we doing? What happened here? Oh, there we go. Oh, so now it does count for all three of them. What? Did I just not see that right earlier? Oh, you know what? Since we're going to play WWF Attitude next week, that means I need to buy the WWF Attitude strategy guide. Add to my collection of strategy guides I bought since we started the show. Which, by the way, unintentionally, my favorite part of the show is buying the old strategy guides. Because now I have, again, as a collector, you can see in the room, it does not upset me to collect old video game strategy guides. I'm for it. We are going to stay with it until I win this match and win the Intercontinental title. Then we're going to fade away. So here's the Wizard, or I keep saying Wizard of Oz, the Alice in Wonderland set for Owen. I may get to the locker room. Man, taking 3 on at a time is not fun. If you mess up at all, it's over. Yeah, so they all, if one of them gets the pin, they all get the pin. That's bullshit. How do you do? I don't. Oh, that's hot. I don't know how I did that. Gorilla press into a backbreaker. Dude, this is terrible. This is terrible. I took no energy from Sean or the other Owen. Right? I did some from Sean. Jester 16, but he says this game is very hard to play. Brother, you ain't shitting. Especially when it's 3-on-1. I am, since I was worse than the first game we played on the show. I think it was. And since we played that, I'm very curious to see the difference now between Warzone and Attitude. Other than the expanded roster, which I think went from 16 to 32, and I think they upgraded the entrances and maybe the game modes. So, I mean, there's some pretty substantial differences from that game to Warzone. So I'm interested to see what those are because I don't remember. Again, other than I know the roster's bigger. Oh, come on. It's bullshit. And again, like let's look at this game and see how wild it is against Mortal Kombat, essentially. And before this, you had Raw, you had Super WrestleMania, you had King of the Ring for the NES. And the next game that's going to come out after this is Warzone. Completely different. Same company, by the way. It's still Acclaim and Sculptured Software. But we're going to get Warzone, which is completely different presentation from what we're looking at right now. 2 years later. Oh, got to win. Look at that. Oh, 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 oh. Went off the skin of my ass, by the way. I would love to be able to stop those running head scissors you can see from a mile away. But you can't do nothing to stop it. Come on. Now we're getting uh-oh. Don't son of a bitch. That was we haven't even damaged Owen Hart yet. The other Owen. This might take a while. We're at an hour 22. This might take a bit. This is proving to be difficult. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and watching tonight. It's been fun as we wrap up WWF In Your House. Again, next week we will start 3 weeks of WWF Attitude for the PS1 as I try to find a new NES or fix the one I have. So we can play tag team wrestling. And then I don't know where we go from there. We'll come up with a new poll. I will guarantee the poll for the next 4 games. One of those games will be of the modern variety of the one of the two WWE 2K series will be on there. Excuse me. This is not fun. I just got murdered. Have you considered playing WWF WrestleMania Arcade? What do you mean? You mean WrestleFest? What's WrestleMania Arcade? I'm unaware. I mean, yes. Yes, I'm interested. Any wrestling video game, I'm interested. I gotta order Retromania after this. So Matthew will stop bitching in the chat. I love that they can attack each other and they just don't. They're like, no, let's just 3-on-1 this guy, and then we'll all take the win somehow. We'll split the title into 3 pieces. This is not fun. Actually, it is fun. It's just obnoxious. Get the add-on with Savage. Well, of course I'm going to get the add-on with Savage. Shh. Again, if you're going to do my all-time favorite wrestlers, it's Mankind and Randy Savage. And they're 1A and 1B. Like, I'm good with either one being on the top. Which, by the way, why? Well, I was just going to ask why isn't he on this game, but no, didn't he debut before Vader? Am I hallucinating? because he debuted the night after WrestleMania. The night after WrestleMania 12. So yeah, it was Vader was first. 1995 WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game. All right, we're gonna have to look into that. And that's what's upsetting about my NES kind of flipping out, doing whatever it's doing right now, is like I have King of the Ring, I have the original WrestleMania for NES, like I have WCW Wrestling for NES. I have a bunch of NES wrestling games, and I can't play any of them because my NES took a dump. You know, again, playing this, and when I grew up, you know, I had Raw for Sega Genesis. Probably the first wrestling game I ever had. And then, you know, we played Super WrestleMania. I think that was game number 4 here on this show. But just to see the evolution of Acclaim, to go from those games to this, and then go from this game to Warzone, is bizarre. Like, it's, to say it's a leap would be an understatement. Yeah, you do that, but I can't believe that one of his moves is a crucifix. I mean, I can. He did the crucifix a shit ton, but come on. Magnum TA quite possibly could be the biggest what if in the history of wrestling. Because that dude, he goes, I can't remember if he started in Florida or Georgia, whichever. And then he goes to Georgia, and he goes to the Carolinas and gets just over to an absurd level. And then, no, I'm sorry, it was Georgia to the Carolinas, gets over in a huge way, has arguably the greatest I Quit match in the history of wrestling with Tully Blanchard. It's fantastic. And I mean, everyone is agreeing Magnum TA is the guy. He is already slated to be the next NWA World Champion. He's gonna beat Ric Flair probably at Starrcade 87. And gets in a car wreck, bone sober, hydroplanes off the road, going the speed limit. And that's that. Ends his career. And instead of, you know, Magnum TA and Ric Flair at Starrcade, you get Nikita Koloff, who turns babyface out of nowhere. And again, I'm not even shitting on the decision. I know why they did it. They had to. They had no choice. But, you know, like they had the next 10 years wrapped up with Magnum TA. And at the snap of your fingers, just like that, gone. And because I mean, in all honesty, it took 2 years after that for WCW to make Sting the next big babyface. And so here's a better conversation. If Magnum doesn't get hurt, do we know who Sting is today? Because again, they make Nikita a babyface, but Nikita is a terrible babyface. Much better heel. I don't think that's speaking nefarious there. So your next big baby face. I mean, Steamboat was by 88. He's already in his early 30s. Because he debuted in like 77. Yeah, I mean, the next, well, let me rephrase, the next babyface they make is Sting. Clash of Champions up against WrestleMania 4. So I mean that's a. If Magnum TA never gets hurt, do we ever know who Sting is? I mean, I think we probably still see Sting, and Sting probably, he probably becomes a guy in WCW. I don't know if he's ever the guy. And of course, this is assuming Magnum could actually. I mean, you could argue he had the popularity to get at the top as it was, but this is assuming he had the personality to get to the top and be able to stay up there. Be able to handle all the pressure that goes with being the guy. Oh, you can pin people outside the ring too. Yeah, again, the cream always rises to the top. I still think Sting is a guy. I don't know if he's the guy. And again, I come back and until 97, Luger to me was just never an effective babyface. He got there, but Luger was not like, oh, this guy, I like him. He does nice things. I like him as a good guy. The WCW fans in 97 disrespected him. They just knew who he was. They liked him. They respected him. So they cheered for him. Because there was a couple times they tried to turn him heel and have him join the Dungeon of Doom or some such nonsense. And the crowd was like, stop it. Just don't do that. And I want to say Sting and Magnum, if they weren't the same age, they were close. Because people kind of forget the face paint kind of distracts your attention. But I think when WCW closed up in 01, I think Sting was already 41 years old. So it is. And, I don't, in no way do I think Magnum TA would have been a big enough babyface. Now, don't get me wrong, him and Flair would have been outstanding. But is he big enough, and do they do enough business that Ted Turner never buys WCW? Again, I don't think so. Because the issue wasn't, they were doing good business in Jim Crockett Promotions. They were just real bad about handling money. That was their problem. Business-wise, they were fine. They actually, which documentary was it? Was it? It was a WCW one, and they started talking about Jim Crockett Promotions. And David Crockett said, when we went out of business, we had $3 million coming to us in pay-per-view revenue, but it took forever to get that. So I bring all that up to say an independent, and it wouldn't have been called a WCW because that was a Ted Turner thing. I don't know what it's called. Jim Crockett Promotions. That's not directly tethered to a television network, being Turner. It's interesting to think what they could have done, because remember, well, I shouldn't say remember because you might not know this. Bischoff talked about years ago in 83 Weeks that Bischoff had, was it the New Year's Eve show? I think it was something like that, lined up to be aired on NBC, which would have been a huge deal. Primetime NBC to bring in some New Year's Eve WCW celebration show of some kind. And a broadcast television deal, that time slot, that day, I mean, you're making some money. That's a lot of money. Turner said no. Now, let me rephrase. Ted did not say no. Turner executive said no. But if Jim Crockett Promotions comes in and he's on TNT and TBS, but he's not actually owned by them, then that NBC deal could have happened. That's why I say it's interesting what WCW could have done had they not been tethered to Turner and Turner Networks, because it hindered him just as much as it helped him, if not more so. In the long run, it doesn't matter because Vince McMahon and Hulkamania would have ran wild and took over anyway. I think because of revisionist history, led mostly by the WWF and some other people's storytelling abilities. And the frustrating part about this conversation is we have to forget the fact that when Ted Turner bought the company, WCW was, again, in just not good with the finances. They had money coming, but they were too far in debt already. Ted Turner buys them in '88. I don't know if it was officially bankruptcy, if they just sold. But Jim Crockett already, some say too fast, but he already expanded into other markets outside the Carolinas. He was going to Baltimore, which was a WWF staple at the time, a safe zone, if you will, stronghold. That's the word I wanted. He'd been in Chicago. He'd been in a lot of different places, touring the company, planning to go national. Probably wasn't that far away, to be completely honest. And would have been harder to get to television penetration because of just, it was the 80s and Vince was already out there. And there's another aspect to this too we have to remember, was Vince was playing dirty when it came to pay-per-view. He blocked, or I shouldn't say blocked, he came up with Survivor Series just to, no wait, he came up with the Royal Rumble to counter program Bunkhouse Stampede, and then he invented Survivor Series to block out what just happened. Was that Survivor Series 88 or Starrcade 88? I think it was. So, and unfortunately for Jim Crockett Promotions, I mean, it's in the late 80s, it's pay-per-view or it's nothing for your events. Gate revenue still had a lot more weigh on your revenue than it would in later years. So Crockett had a lot of things going against him. But as far as talent, television penetration, ignoring his financial situation, Crockett was there. Crockett, I'm not going to say was ready to compete with McMahon in '88, but he was close. He was close. If he gets a couple more television deals on and gets some more national coverage, I mean, it's on. Like, and not getting those pay-per-view events because Vince was playing hardball and told the pay-per-view companies, if you air those shows, you'll not get WrestleMania. You know, that hurt them too. And that's why Clash of the Champions became a thing. All right, they won't let us have pay-per-view, we'll counter program them for free on television. But I don't think people, or we forget, or I don't know what the deal is, but I think people kind of forget how close. Oh, apparently you get counted out. That's fun. Crockett was not as far away as people think to taking Vince on nationally. He was, again, there was steps he needed to take, but he wasn't as far away as people think. And again, he had the talent. He had Flair, he had Luger, Sting, the Horseman, Barry Windham, Sid, Undertaker. He had at one point. Well, I mean, it was Ted Turner technically, but you know, the Russians, Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, Jim Cornette. They had the pieces. And again, let's remember this too. Hulk Hogan is riding high in '88, for sure, no question. But again, if Crockett could hang on for 2 more years, Hulkamania is dead in '91. Maybe not officially, but the crowd's turning on. And WCW, Jim Crockett Promotions, never really had a guy that the crowd turned on because they were tired of seeing the same shit. Crockett was pretty good about, you know, freshening things up. And now the unfortunate part, Flair is fantastic heel. Straight up babyface, he's serviceable. He's okay. But if you take the financials out of it, talent-wise, television penetration, take the pay-per-view hardball stuff off the table, Crockett's right there in '88. They're ready. And again, waited out 3 years. Hogan kind of dips out, and WWF does not find their replacement or his replacement, let's be honest with each other, until 1997, when the emergence of Stone Cold Steve Austin happens. Now, Brett, Shawn, Diesel, all those guys, serviceable WWF champions. They were not the draw Steve Austin was. Now, Bret Hart made Austin, for sure. Can't argue that. What is he putting his hat on me? But again, the question I always love to consider when it comes to wrestling and what ifs is, what if Hulk Hogan does not leave the AWA in 1983 or 84? No, it was 83. What if he never leaves the AWA in 83? What if him and Vern figure it out, come to terms with an agreement on finances and everything else and merchandise, and Hogan stays and Hogan becomes AWA World Champion? I don't think people realize how big the AWA television footprint was. It was probably the second biggest in the United States behind the WWF. And, you know, if Hogan doesn't leave, Bobby Heenan doesn't leave, Gene Okerlund doesn't leave, Zbyszko doesn't leave. I'm sorry, not Zbyszko, Jesse Ventura. That's a pretty stacked roster already. And you got who was there? Who else? In the AWA was there? Steamboat comes in at some time around that time. Tito, Martel, Zbyszko, Stan Hansen. Like pretty good group of dudes coming through there. Some kid named Shawn Michaels drops in '86. That's my bigger what if is if Hogan doesn't leave the AWA, and again him and Vern figure it out. Now the biggest mitigating factor to all of that is someone has to run the company that's not named Vern Gagne, because he just did not understand the evolving television market and all those other things, and merchandising and marketing. He didn't get it. But that's to me, that's a much more fun. Hey, what if this happened? What if Hogan stays in the AWA? Now, the sad part is one of the hottest territories in that time frame, too, 83, 84, is World Class in Dallas with the Von Erichs, but really at no time, and I'll throw Memphis in there too, in Portland and places like that, there's no time in which you could say they were competing, because they weren't. Now, granted, World Class had some bizarre broadcasting thing where they were showing their show in Israel, which I don't even understand how that happens. And they had the Texas Stadium show when David died, and they had the wrestling indoor attendance record forever. Well, I shouldn't say forever, 3 years, but but they were never a threat at any point. Again, they had the people. They had King Kong Bundy. They had Rick Rude at one point. They had Jake. They had the Von Erichs. They had the Freebirds. Like, they had the people, Chris Adams, Gino Hernandez. Like, they had the talent. They just were never really a threat. And it's a geographical thing. It's a size thing, a television market, all that. Portland, absolutely not. No way. I don't know how I keep kneeing people to the moon, but I'm for it. Well, now I'm getting slaughtered. This is fun. Good time. So I've already done this match about 13 times, and I know I said I would stay on until we're done with it, but I'm getting over it. And I wonder if, had I picked Ahmed Johnson from the beginning of this, am I still facing myself in this final match? Also, who thought 3-on-1 was a good idea for the title? It's done. We got to make it hard on him. Yeah, hard, not impossible. Why should have me take on the roster? The roster versus Owen Hart. Apparently, my AWA World Class dissertations chase off the chat. No one's talking anymore. Sorry, like when you ask a wrestling nerd who reads and finds the history of wrestling fascinating, a historical question, that's what happens. I become the nerd comes out. All I need is the glasses to push them up my nose and non-verbally express my disgust in you. It good. Well, actually, we did talk about Mid-South. Allegedly, I just found this out a couple days ago. In territory wrestling, if you count just local market television ratings, there was a time that the most watched show in the country, I think it was in 84, was Mid-South Wrestling, which is wild. I have watched some old Mid-South shows, not enough to know anything about it in great detail. But for what I've seen, it's a pretty damn good wrestling show. I have to give it that. And I will always go back to this too when it comes to regional territories, because for conversation's sake, when the USWA died in 99 or whatever it was, I mean, territory wrestling had been long dead by then, but they were the official nail in the coffin. But people will shit on Jim Cornette, and I understand because he shits on wrestling today, and a lot of people like it. I get it, but like they'll sit here with a straight face and say, "Well, every company he's been a part of is shut down." Well, for one, OVW is still running, so we'll start with that. Two, he had a regional territory in Smoky Mountain from 90 to 95. In that time frame, to have a regional territory when the regional system was dead and to have a show for that long is bananas. And there was the wrestling talent pool was nil at that time. They're like, again, there's not a bunch of territories just churning dudes out. I just won. I didn't mean to. What does that mean? But yeah, what Cornette did with Smoky Mountain was nothing. I mean, it's 5 years. It's pretty good. And churned out some decent dudes on that from that roster. Does OVW, and you say he doesn't know anything about wrestling. Well, I mean, just his first draft class alone was Cena, Batista, Randy Orton, and who's the fourth one? Cena, who am I forgetting? Cena, Batista, Orton, and Lesnar. Duh. I mean, that alone, we're good. Like he clearly knows what he's doing. But he's at OVW for how long was he there? 8 years. Then he goes to Ring of Honor. Just churns out some more dudes. And then like how I don't understand how again, you could not like Jim Cornette. That's fine. I understand. I listen to both of his shows every week. I respect his wrestling knowledge and I respect his opinions. I do wish there were things he says that I think are unfortunate how he phrases them, for sure. And there is a part of Cornette that is abrasive for the sake of being abrasive. Not going to argue that either. But to sit here and pretend that Jim Cornette knows nothing about wrestling is hilarious. Like, I don't know how you can make that argument with a straight face. And for that matter, any person who's been around the wrestling industry for over 40 years, and you're just like, they don't know what's going on anymore. What? Like for one, if they've been around that long, they've seen the wrestling business evolve several times. So to sit here and pretend that this evolution that we're seeing right now is a bridge too far, as opposed to just not good, is wild. This is really not enjoyable. Matthew Elvis Presley says Houston wrestling. Houston, St. Louis. Huge territories. St. Louis is an interesting case study because they went from arguably the most, I'm not going to say the biggest wrestling territory, but the most important for sure, especially with the NWA. A lot of big time NWA title changes happened in St. Louis. But to go from one of the most important territories to off the face of the earth is St. Louis is fascinating in that aspect. Houston, again, huge. I think Houston now is the fourth largest television market behind Chicago, LA, and New York. I think Houston's fourth. And so, I mean, that's a giant benefit when you start a wrestling company in the 80s, is you got, or the 70s, or the shit, Houston. When did Paul Bosch throw his hat in the 50s? Because he wrestled before that, regardless. Whenever he started, having the one of the top 10 largest media markets, and now I'm pretty sure it's fourth, but giant benefit. and the business they did was ridiculous. You know, but again, you have really good television penetration built in because you're in one of the biggest media markets in the country. And actually, I think right now, and I say this to anyone who currently is or is considering running a wrestling company. If there was ever a time for regional wrestling to make a comeback, it's right now with ticket prices. I think kind of the sentiment I see going to and working wrestling conventions is I think wrestling fans are just kind of over the glamorized version of wrestling, the bright lights, the makeup, the choreography, of wrestling today as a whole. And what I mean by that is specifically WWE, AEW, and TNA. Say what you want about any of the companies. It's the same shit, just repackaged in a different wrapper. Even if the wrestling styles aren't the same, the presentation sure is. All of it's polished, bright, shiny, perfect. Not, people forget what made wrestling famous or kind of popular again in the mid to late 90s was it what's the word I want? It embraced like grunge. It wasn't polished, it wasn't bright, it wasn't shiny. It was edgy, probably too edgy in a lot of cases, rough, gruff, dirty, just grungy. And WWF buys out WCW, production values go through the roof, and then you get polished, perfect, sterilized, well-lit wrestling, and what happens? The crowd immediately turns on it. So I say all of that to say that if there was ever a time for regional wrestling territories to ever come back, especially with things like YouTube and all the streaming networks we have, if there was ever a time for that to come back, it's right now. I feel, again, going to these conventions and talking to wrestling fans, regional wrestling, if enough people could get together and make, like, I don't know, an actual beneficial business relationship NWA, that type of a style of alliance, and work together to have broadcasting rights and get together, and this is how we're going to book the shows, and if my talent is on your show, you're not going to book them to do X, Y, or Z, meaning ridiculous hardcore matches and things of the like, death matches, and we're just going to focus on keeping ticket prices family friendly, base our companies around that and build that up from there. I think that would work. I think there's enough wrestlers in the country today to pull that off. I don't think there's enough level-headed promoters to do it. Because unfortunately anymore, like, it seems like all the wild shit that you hear about wrestling anymore is promoters, not the wrestlers per se. But yeah, I think if regional wrestling was ever going to come back, it'd be now. That would be the time. Again, I feel like people are over the big companies, AEW, WWE, and TNA, for completely different reasons. By the way, WWE, everyone's just started getting gouged half to death, and I'm not going to say for better or for worse, but I think the epitome of that is the WWE starting to go to Saudi 4 times a year. It seems like. I haven't liked it from the beginning, just for the record. And these just asinine ticket prices and these VIP. Now you get to buy, what was it, a watch the tryouts. You get to pay to watch tryouts. Just the gross commercialization of the WWE. And by the way, in no time flat, that happened. They hoard that company out right now. All the new reality shows nobody wants to freaking watch. And here's the thing. I don't know if I can speak for everyone else out there. I'm ready for kayfabe to come back. I'm so sick and tired of smart inside trying to be wink wink wrestling promos. I'm over it. Bring me back to kayfabe. Oh, we're still doing this. We're over 2 hours, so I'm thinking if we don't win this one, I'm gonna do it one more time, and if we don't win that one, I think we're just gonna call it a day because this is stupid. Fall award to Owen Hart, but not that one. Because again, Sean just keeps laying down these 2 times high risk combos. What does that mean? How do you do that? I want to do that. Well, I have the instruction manual. Wish I would have thought of that earlier. Space Jam. Can we play Space Jam next? Okay. Where's Owen? Undertaker, Vader. Explore various combinations of buttons. I've been doing that the whole time. Oh. Almost dropped my controller again. Here we go. Owen. See, it says down, down, P. What is P? That is not a thing. Oh, punch. What's punch? Let's try to do some shit. What's P? P is punch. No shit. What button is this? Oh, I just flipped the page on accident. Control setup. That doesn't help me. All right, we figured it out. Let's kick. There's punch. Down, down, punch. Down, down, punch. Oh, sorry. Wrong button. Is it this one? Oh, my God. Oh, wrong page. Go back to Owen. Bulldog, Gold Dust, Owen. Down, down, punch. Ooh, Brett just hit a 4-time damage, and it wasn't to me. That's excellent. I love this in principle, but the fact that they can attack each other and they just don't is annoying. But hey, we got to win. We get one more. Well, we did not. I think that's going to end it. I think I'm tapping out here. 2 hours and 5 minutes in. I want to thank everyone for hanging out with us here. This one, put my instruction manual back. There we go. I want to thank everyone for hanging out here. Bash on the buttons. Back here on Mark Out Moments. And we're going to see you next week. We start WWF Attitude PlayStation 1 as I try to find a new original Nintendo. In the meantime, enjoy your weekends, enjoy your week. Memorial Day is coming up. And remember, in 2 weekends, I'll see you in Nashville. And this has been Step Hens, Bash on the Buttons. See you next week, right here, Mark Out Moments Network. Press the wrong button. My bad, y'all.